tuning in to the online broadcast network, AfterBuzz TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing aftershows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
What up, AfterBuzzers? It's your boy DJ Jesse Janity here in studio for the East Los High AfterBuzz TV After Show. I am joined by one of the stars who plays Vanessa, Miss Tracy Perez.
What's up? What's up?
Thank you for joining us.
What's going on?
So I'm standing right now.
Yeah, it's a little surreal.
Yes, meet my lovely co-host. We have Sir Julian.
Hi. Hi.
Yeah.
Hello.
And Queen Courtney.
What's up? Hello. Hello.
Hello, hello. Goddess. Oh, there we go. So
Thank you.
One stepped it up.
I'll take it.
So the episode is called End of an Era. Interesting. We should have had you last week for The Bitch Is Back.
Oh, I know.
We had
I
some strong feelings about the bitch being back.
We did.
Yeah.
You watched it.
Yeah.
Luckily, you came in with love and wasn't like, don't make me Vanessa, y'all.
I was like, where's the camera by my heels? Okay. Okay. This is all my entrances everywhere.
So how did you get involved with East Los?
Oh man, I auditioned through a personal submission.
Oh.
I kept
Wow.
seeing that they were looking for this girl, and I was like, that's bizarre because it seems to me like I could think of 10 girls who could fit this. But little did I know that this was something that was going to be really big, and especially with the HIV aspect of it, I think they needed somebody who, you know, had a little bit of a inner city deep background, you know, to deal with those issues and stuff.
I mean, as far as not knowing where the show is going to take off, because after binge watching the first season in like half a week, and then being like, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
There's no more episodes. And then season 2 was there, and season 2 only had 13 episodes. Was it kind of a surprise to the whole cast as far as like, wait, this is really taking off?
Yeah, I mean, I was shocked when people recognized me in the grocery stores, you know, because I wasn't, you know, the stuff that I read about. I'm like, oh, ha, 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 maybe you should have worn makeup, you know. Those things are just like, and now you're in the situation. And what was cool, at least on my end, because I was living Northeast at that time, and I had, you know, parents with their kids, like, oh, this is something that we could actually watch together. And I'm like, really? Because I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that at all. Yeah, and so it was fun, entertaining, and it was still managed to be educational, which was pretty cool. We were shocked at how people were starting to talk about it, how quickly the word spread, how, you know, people started to really engage, especially because it's a show online. So it's, you know, you get exactly what people think. You know, there is no filter. No holding back. But that's the cool part about, you know, not only the audience that's attracted to the show, but what the show is really about. Like, we don't really hold back, and we put it out there, and I think everybody is just shocked that it's so well received, you know, and that it's being understood.
It's crazy because it's like, with certain shows, you understand, you watch them, and you're like, okay, they're an actor playing this character. But with East Los, it's like, if I was to see you in a grocery store, I'd be like, Vanessa, look, what you did to Jacob. Like,
let me tell
do you get that?
I had someone say, so, like, do you really have HIV? Is that a real thing? I'm like, yeah, that's definitely a real thing. Or they're like, I really don't think that you should have done that to Gabe. the actor, because, you know, it's like Tracy, Vanessa, you know, Gabe, Jacob, and stuff. So it's really funny how I'm like, yeah, that's what? What? I'm agreeing with you. Yeah, what? So it's really great because, you know, in the opening credits, you see the image of the actor and the character name, and traditionally you see, you know, Tracy Perez as
Yes.
this person. So I love that aspect of the show when you just thrusted into the story that way, because people just start to see you as your character, which was a backlash on my end, I must say, because people really thought I was that way, and people were very confused when all of a sudden I was smiling and tripping
nice
and
not
you
being
know,
mean.
not knowing how to drink water from a cup, stuff like that.
And as far as the HIV aspect and taking it through the storyline, it's kind of growing to a bigger plot line as far as high V.
Yeah.
And like I was saying, what I like about the show is that they can touch such serious topics, but then also bring it to a light point to where it's not so heavy, like the high V. Where did that
Right.
kind of idea spiral from?
Well, the writers. I mean, the writers are great at balancing out those, heavy topics and bringing out the humor. I think in life, though, I mean, you're hit with a hard situation, and your defense mechanism is to make something light of it,
Yeah.
is to kind of, or escapism, or, kind of deal with it in not such a head-on way. And I think what's interesting is that that's also true to life. It doesn't have to be, there's so many people walking around with different problems, different ailments, different diseases. And sometimes they're the ones with the most optimistic point of view. They're the
That's
ones that
very
you're
true.
like, oh,
Yeah.
damn, man,
Very
well, I
true.
just broke a nail, but I should rethink things, And I think that that's important, because that's what helps us be stronger together, in this, not to be all sappy, but it's true. At least I found in my experience, if I see you dealing with something that I don't know how I would deal with, or was pretty hard hitting, I would want some inspiration from that. And, she is a very humorous character. I mean, because she takes herself so seriously, it becomes ridiculous, but that the freedom that character has, I think, enables us to really get into what she's going through, especially the struggle with dating.
Yeah,
that very real thing. That
I'm wondering, this must be such a fun character for you to play. I mean, you get layers with this character that you get to explore and exploit, and
Yeah.
that must be a blast for you. But is because, and I say this all the time, because there are such heightened narratives and just points of excitement. Is there anything when you're reading a script for your character that sort of surprises you in a way that's like, oh, I have to do this, or anything that's sort of, I don't know.
You mean the sex tape?
Well, yeah, actually, no,
yeah,
I
I
don't
mean,
think he was here when we were talking about that. That was a really interesting.
No, the season one,
Yeah.
the season one situation.
Because, we're all human, so I
Yeah.
imagine we have those reactions. It's
Right.
just-
Yeah. No. It's absolutely. Well, when I read it, I was a little tentative because, I am aware of, how Latinas have been sexualized in media, and I was very much about fighting that. I think it's okay, obviously, to be proud of who you are and how you express yourself, but I think sometimes when it's manipulated, for commerce, I think it's a little silly. But I understood based on the script that that's not what they were doing, and it was very clear based on the message of where she was going, her arc, that this is where she begins, that this isn't the end of her journey. So I was very much behind the fact, you can, there are people like this, there are people who are, balls out, like living this way, and recklessly,
Lots of them, actually.
and you can't hold them back. You can't say anything to them until they learn for themselves. And I thought that was a little dangerous and cool. I was like, yeah, that's true. That's honest. And she's using all her methods of manipulation to get back at Jesse, but at the same time, she's herself is falling apart. She's being too reckless. No one is looking out for her. And I found that loneliness really interesting. You never see her in home life. Obviously, she doesn't have real friends, and so I found that really intriguing. Like, wow, this is a really complex girl, and we're really exploring what it means to live in a high school environment, being this way. So that's the part that I felt the sexuality part was interesting to me, because I felt like I wanted to explore that a little bit more rather than hiding away from it. I really wanted to understand where they were going with it, what the message was. And it's usually the people that we don't think are going to get something are the ones that may, And so we can learn, I think, the most from someone like that, the most unexpected person.
How did
No,
you?
oh, sorry. I was going to say, because we had talked earlier about how for the first season you guys shot it like a film, sort of all
Yeah.
at the same time.
Yeah.
And were you as the actor, were you privy to the sort of whole script and the whole arc of what Vanessa was going to be when you were like, okay, it's a sex tape, y'all want to put this out? Like, where is this really? It just in speaking to the like not wanting to be a sexualized Latino on TV again. Like, and were you able to get that information ahead of time? How did you come up?
Well, and did you tell your mom?
I still tell my mom. I still like, Mom, but it's okay.
Did you warn your mom? That's probably
it's okay,
was it really
Mommy.
in a sex tape?
I swear. No, it's I wanted to I remember in the beginning I thought it was a little bit odd that they were looking for her so hardcore. And when I read the script, I was like, oh, I get it. There is a very strong point of view. Usually we do see, someone having the arc within the season, right? Or something happening, but something happens, this thing happens to her so late in the game that we don't get to empathize with her. Yep. And, I've gotten a lot of like, she deserves it. And those are honest reactions, though. Reading them, I was like, well, that's really harsh. But at the same time, people do think like that. Well, she looks this way, she acts this way. That's her karma. And I thought, wow, how unfair. Then people started bullying. I would see just comments, online, and I was like, wow, that's. Ooh, I'm glad that's not really me,
But how amazing for a show like this to be able to get those honest remarks, and then, because I feel like each season has grown as far as the way they present information, and what a great way with this show to kind of take those remarks, and then as we see your arc this season, you redeem yourself. You become a little more. Wait a minute. Actually, I like Vanessa. I see why she does the things she does.
Right. She's a little spunky. I mean, she also is now forced to be open to the possibilities. Before she was very narrow-minded about what life was like. And I think now she's in a situation where she has to go to therapy. She has to go to group therapy. She has to have a friend, like a real friend. She has to be out of the dating pool, which is scary for anybody, but under those circumstances is even more.
It's necessary.
Right. Yeah. So she's actually seeking help. And I think so many of us, whether you have a serious disease or, just had a bad morning, like all of us do need that type of help and that support. And I think she's she's a very good example of how to keep striving and how to keep pushing.
Before we get into this episode, just a Stan question. First season, we were introduced to Jessie. Love-hate relationship with her.
Jessie,
what was kind of was there a kind of behind-the-scenes reason for her leaving, or was that just how the story was written, that they knew Maya was going to come into it? Because they focused so heavily on the Jacob and Jessie storyline.
Right.
And then all of a sudden we got the Maya storyline, and then it kind of is like, okay, well, you keep giving us these relationships and taking them away from us. Because I remember I was like, Jessie, Maya's a bitch, and then I was like, no, Jesse's a bitch, and then I was like,
it's like
but I want to like her because she has my name.
Right.
But then I just sometimes can't stand her being in the bomb squad because she can't move like the other girls. Like, what was the story with Jessie? Poor Jessie.
Yeah, poor Jessie. Well, in the end, she was off. I mean, she's off in a bus and living her own reality. Whether or not she's gonna come back and be like, "Wow, Jacob, you've been busy," is something I personally don't know that. But I know that they wanted to explore the Maya Jacob relationship a little bit more. Especially seeing Maya grow from, being a little hood rat to someone who's properly actually engaging in the community and trying to reach out to people like her. So.
Boom. All right. So end of an era. Let's talk about some of the topics that went on tonight. So Camila talks to Gina about her father molesting her in the bathroom.
Tough.
Yeah. And that moment, finally, Gina just kind of putting her hand on Camila and understanding that the mother had came home. And it was interesting to see the mom's reaction was like, it wasn't my fault. I was working and doing all this. And the anger that came out of the mother. And then we kind of see Camilla's anger towards her mother as if you knew that this was going on.
Yeah. I really liked that part because that's so powerfully subtle in a way and real.
Yeah.
Like, how many times does crap go down?
Oh, you can say shit.
I know you've
heard me say it too many times.
Poo-poo go down.
Poo-poo go down.
In the family.
Yes.
and we don't discover until later what the real truth was.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Or
you
that
knew
people
this
keep
whole
it hush
time.
hush.
Hush, hush.
Right.
Because we don't want outsiders to
The
know that
taboo
instead of
thing.
dealing with the issues internally.
Yeah.
What did you guys think?
I thought it was great because even though you look at it and you're like, you want mom to like immediately
Yeah.
empathetic,
Yeah.
but as a mom, sometimes that the shame of the idea that this could be happening right under your nose, and maybe you were looking the other way subconsciously, but it wasn't a conscious choice to look the other way. Like, so I think the reaction was honest and real, and it's a little chilling and it's heartbreaking,
Yeah.
and I think they got every level that it would be in a really good way.
Yeah.
See, my take on it is, yeah, I definitely think that that's an honest reaction. I was still surprised by it, just because, you know, this is your daughter. You know, this is your daughter. How could you react in that way? But it was just very heartbreaking, because the first thing that she goes to is sort of like a self-defense. The mother I'm talking about is a self-defense mechanism, which I would just think you would drop all guard and embrace your daughter and make sure you let her know that you're here, and I don't know, it's just
She's
very
also a
strange.
young mother too.
That was
though.
my other thing I was
Right.
going to say. Like, it's
Yeah.
interesting that element sort of gets brought into it, because she's always just trying to do what she can do,
Yep.
and she's not much more of a much more of a child than she was when this is
suppose.
all
Because remember
happening,
last
like-
season when she got the job and she was like, how do I look?
Yeah,
Like, it was like,
exactly.
girl, who's the kid in this situation?
Exactly, and
Exactly.
obviously she's not quite as emotionally developed as maybe
That makes
she
sense.
Yes.
could be or should be, raising teenage daughters and that kind of thing.
Exactly.
So I think that's why I was as annoyed as you are. Like, that's
Yeah.
your
Yeah.
baby. And you should do that. Like, I get it. Like, I get it, because it's difficult
Well,
to
'cause it-
face even when you are like have it all together and can understand.
And it didn't come in a way that was, I mean, when that was revealed to her, it wasn't in a combative way or sort of a like pointing fingers. And so I guess that's why I thought that reaction was strange. But again, we are, like you said, dealing with someone who's isn't as emotionally mature as you should be when you bring another human being into this
Pretty sure
world.
Gina is more emotionally mature than she.
Well,
And Camila
she's a
too. I
real
feel like
mom.
they're the mothers.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I just still think it was disheartening. It was an honest reaction, but it was still disheartening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love that, because then you ask, well, what's that about?
Yeah.
And what's
Yeah.
that about? That's not the way it should be, or how should it be? Then
Yeah.
let's have a discussion on how should it be.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's what's really important, is the discussion. Okay, so another relationship is we have Jacob and his father.
I love the dad.
I love him so much.
Everyone loves him.
And Papa.
Yeah.
He's upset because Jacob is talking about going to school, and within the East Los community, or mostly Hispanic community, it's like, you can't let a woman pay for you. Like, you
Yeah.
have to take care of the family. You have to do this, and you're working already, and now you're gonna leave
Yeah.
now you're gonna leave your home.
Yeah.
You're gonna go away.
You're crazy.
Which is
Yeah.
it is, because family's so big.
And it's interesting too, because he was so adamant in wanting him to go to school
Yeah.
in the previous season.
Yep.
Like,
Right.
no, you're not going to stay here. This isn't your problem. Like, I'll just sell the restaurant. Like, it's whatever. And then to see that shift, and because
Yeah.
he stepped up into that position that
Yeah.
he doesn't want him to
It's
go.
the method in
interesting.
which he's pursuing that
Yeah.
degree that
Yeah.
he's not okay with, because Latinos are very, like, they subscribe to that machismo culture, and that's prevalent and evident. So,
Right.
yeah, it was very interesting to see that, you know?
We see that Maya is working with some of the chefs in the back, and she was testing out what they've been up to, because Jacob has been mentoring them.
Yes,
All
we
right.
love
They're
that.
so busy.
They're so busy.
Busy bees.
And then at the end, we see Jacob tells Maya, she's like, the taxi's here. Like, wait for the last minute. Talk about, you know what? I'm not going. I'm gonna stay here. East Los is my home.
Right.
And Maya's like thinking about, like, what is about to happen? What's gonna go on? Here we have Jesse 2.0.
Right. I know. Who's behind the curtain?
Yeah, who's gonna
Yeah.
pop out?
Did you guys
Right.
expect that to kind of happen, or did
Yeah.
you see Jacob kind of?
You did?
When the dad wasn't like super for it, and then as soon as you see the like guys get upset in the kitchen or whatever, like, dude, you didn't tell us. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
It's like, he's totally gonna stay. Like, there's no way he can leave. He feels important, and
Yeah,
he's
he feels
seeing
responsible.
what he's responsible for, and he can't just drop it to go to school.
Oh, Jacob's such a good guy.
Doing the right thing.
You know? So Maya said, you know, I can't, well, he said, I can't leave here. Maya said, well, I can't give up my job. He said, not
Not
even
for
for
me.
me.
I was like, no.
Sorry, boo.
I was like,
Bye, Felicia.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we young, huh?
Hey,
Yes.
I'm trying to get this
Okay,
coin. Remember I was
Life is
slanging
short.
drugs on the streets? Like, ain't
we're
trying to
19,
I'm not trying to
boo.
live that
Like,
life
I was
anymore.
homeless. I got a job.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm going to work.
I cleaned myself up.
Thank
Good.
you.
Serious.
All right, so
But
let's,
I was
go
gonna say,
ahead.
I did think that maybe she was not, like, some kind of way the job was gonna fall through when they were sitting having breakfast or whatever with Ceci, and the phone call came through. I was like, she ain't gonna get it, and they're not gonna have to go. But then she still went. So, oh well.
But let's talk about that scene. Go ahead, what were you going to say?
I just wanted to talk a little bit about the motivation of Jacob. Do you guys like that he made that decision, or in terms of staying and kind of taking on his responsibilities, or
Yes and no.
Tracy's like,
because
absolutely.
I feel like if you, and we said this last week, I feel like if you want to better the family business, why not get a degree and come back and use the knowledge that you have acquired in an institute of higher learning, to further the business. It just seems if you are that attached to it or committed to it, I don't see that as a bad thing. So it's interesting that kind of cognitive dissonance that exists within him that disallows him or prevents him from actually bettering his business.
I subscribe to that in real life, but like in East Los on TV life, I need him to stay at home and take care of his business.
I'm forgetting what I'm talking about. Yeah.
They're rules.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's levels to this right now.
We need Jacob.
I do, because to be honest, how lame would it be if Maya's out there thinking that he's thinking the same thing, and they're out there and supposedly in love together, and he's not really
His
all
mind is
there.
Yeah.
That's the worst. When
And
your
then he'll
mind's not in
resent
it.
her, and it'll be all
Exactly.
bad.
And that's
Jesse will
how
come back.
relationships. Yeah, that's how relationships work, though.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
It's true. The risk. Yeah, you gotta take the chance, right? That's true.
But it's a yes and no for me because I feel like he should. You know what I mean? Like it's like, okay, you're jumping from these girls, Jacob. And that is not a part of your
Doesn't the dad mention
caricature.
that? I wonder.
You said what?
Why doesn't the dad talk about that? I wonder.
Because I think father plays the same game.
as
Like father,
evidence
like son.
later
Right.
on.
But also, I want him to stay because Jacob is just that guy. He's that hometown guy.
Yeah.
Everyone knows him. Everyone goes to the taqueria and goes and sees Jacob. And it's like, oh, we got to go here and see him and Pepe and all this stuff.
He
And
needs
it's like,
that montage. He needs that like slow-mo montage.
Yes.
You know?
Yes. With Sarah
love that.
McLachlan playing
Oh my
underneath.
God. Passing the tacos.
and not only that, I think both of you guys disagreed with me last week. I'm like really needing
about him
Jacob and Ceci to
No,
happen.
and thank you to
No.
our viewer that said
Yeah.
no, she needs to get her own life
Yeah.
together,
Okay,
get
yes.
a job and a home.
I agree.
Like,
Yeah.
I agree with
yes.
you, viewer, whoever you are.
Yes.
We
Yes,
agree with you. We're
viewer.
on that
Thank
train.
you, viewer. Jesse's crazy.
But Jacob came and saved her, and he's like,
She's
Please.
saving
Save her all the time.
She's been
No.
saving herself.
there we go.
She can keep doing that too. No,
Keep
I don't
doing
know where
it, Sassy.
Jacob's going. I don't know where Jacob's going.
All right, so let's talk about the Bomb Squad, which you coached the last episode.
my
For like
they had to
goodness.
call. They had to call you
So I
in.
had to break out, man. I'm like on the run all of a sudden.
Yeah, which was hilarious.
I have
that
a-
you just
Ear
got
off.
up and
I
left
have
him.
a. It's a. Ears are my delicacy. You know? I love really interesting things.
Little Mike Tyson-esque. So I was wondering with the performance that we saw. At first, as I'm watching, I'm like, wait, so is this Vanessa's choreography? Because they were like, well, screw it, we're just going to do our own thing. It was like,
Right.
so it was a mix. Some of the girls were doing Vanessa's and some were doing
Yeah,
Ceci.
well, that's why they ended up getting all.
Discombobulated.
Yeah, completely.
Now was the and also we see like the PTA or like whatever the woman running the thing on the side like what
The
are
blue
these girls
suit,
doing?
the mom. of-
Was the raunchiness more
She was
Vanessa
so fun to
adding the
work with.
choreography?
Oh my god!
Oh,
I'm sorry,
really?
I was thinking about her. Which
Yeah, tell us a little bit about it.
No, she was just great. I mean, I was told that I would have a lot of fun working with her. Carlos, the director, was like, "Oh my God, you have to meet, have a good time." And really, it was just like, "Oh man, I wish you were really in the show,
Okay.
the
Yeah.
whole show,
Okay.
because you were awesome." Yeah, she was so lovely, and she was so. I mean, she's a comedic actress. You know, she was just fun to work with. So that's just something that, and you know, just little. It's always great when you're on set and you see these little additions that actually make it the cut. You know, these little like, okay, you know, what did she say about the butt? You know, squeeze your butt in,
Yeah.
your boobs, or whatever she said, you know, and she ends up being the mom of one of the
Other girls.
daughters
And she was
on
like,
the
we're
side,
just
yeah.
gonna
Yeah.
ask the winners to come up on stage.
I know. Thanks.
Yeah, and you know what? That's the kind of campiness that you guys were talking about that I'm glad you guys appreciate and you get, because it is such a mix. Like, this is like East Los High, such a soup. you know, and it's like a stew, a really good stew, and there are moments like that where it's just like, we get a relief from, you know, the molestation, or relief from, you know, the abuse that Ceci's going through, and so it's a little bit like these heightened characters are able to exist within this world, so that's the cool part.
Which to me, I think, is a very fine line, either way, dramatic or campy or comedic, because you can jump the shark very easily, and it's a testament to the writing and even to the acting too, because that the interpretation of those words really makes a huge difference. So congrats to you and the team, because I think it's really good. Yeah, you guys are doing a great. Yeah.
And you guys look like outside of the show, you guys are always with each other, hanging out.
We have no friends.
You guys are each other's friends.
Yeah, it's funny. Well, you know, it's such a bizarre, environment where, you know, the show comes out every summer, right? So naturally in the summer, you know, everyone goes away, or, you know, you get to see friends and whatever, but we have the show to celebrate, you know, we have the show to kind of get behind. So it's very interesting how the summer vibe ends up happening with us. And, you know, the years are short. So, you know, when we end up hanging out and stuff, it's all, I like that there's such diversity within the cast too.
Yeah. And it shows, because you guys, I believe these connections in the show, and that translates from actually being around each other outside. So the next day, Ceci goes, well, first of all, before we talk about that, Pedro stalking in the
audience, and this one over here was like, I want Ceci to go to the dance.
I wanted him to. I want to see him, and I'm glad we saw it.
I'm glad Ceci turned around.
Okay, can you vouch for him as an actor? That he's a nice person in real life.
Jesse's so afraid to invite him.
Yeah, he ain't coming here, because I'm like, he's gonna have to sit over there. We'll be like, hey, Pedro.
No, totally. No, he totally is, which is interesting, because when we you guys will see that later on. So never mind. Anyway, so but. You know, he definitely is, you know, he's very, very sweet, and he's very professional. So he's nothing like his character.
He's not really whooping tricks.
No, he's not flexing.
Yeah, he's scared. I mean, his interpretation of that character, just the subtleties in his performance, is what freaks me out. I am not really surprised or like shocked by any of like the aggressive, violent acts, but it's just like the looks and the
wheels that are turning. Right?
That freaks me out even more.
Too.
What the hell are you?
Yeah, what are you thinking? When he stops talking is when I get like stop say something.
Like, he might really be driving a bus to grab us off the street. And sell our parts
with a smile on his face. You know?
Yeah, I think it's interesting how he played it, because that could have not worked. You know, it's almost like, okay, is this laughable? But he plays it where it's like you don't want to know what he's thinking, and that's what I like about it.
Yeah,
for sure.
All right, so the next day, Ceci goes to talk to the girls of the bomb squad and tells them that she kind of just opens up about what's been going on with them. And they were kind of shading her at first, but then when they hear it, they were...
by that.
Me too.
I was like, damn, give her a chance.
Give her a break. Like, really? Y'all think she just didn't show up just because, like...
Yeah.
They're in high school.
Yeah, they're in
I
high
know, but then,
school.
But I tried to relate.
You don't show up
I
to brunch.
understand.
I was in high school though, and she came up and she was like, "Yo, man," they were like, "What were you doing? Tasted wedding cake?" And she was like, "The wedding's off." Like, wouldn't that like click? Like, wait. What do you mean the wedding's off?
Yeah.
They were like, oh, well,
Superficial girls in high school.
But there's also, I mean,
Tiffany is only thinking about what kind of relaxer she got in her hair and what kind of tan and spray she put in her.
When you do think about the sort of the way that a 16-year-old acts and reacts to certain news, I mean, come on, you can't fault them for that.
It's reactive, right?
Yeah, it's reactive, and they don't know the full story.
Like,
really,
can we get the sweater back?
Yeah, at that moment they only knew, okay, so the wedding's off, but they don't really know all of the underlying problems that are happening with her. So yeah, it's a valid reaction.
Is the wedding off because you didn't show up for that too?
Exactly. Yeah.
Terrible.
It's true. Then my initial reaction was like, "What? Whack." But then I was like, well, considering the situation and how much it means to them,
right?
And they're thinking about a group, so it's a group versus this single Danielle. That's Ceci.
And then we see the girls, they felt bad, so they sold the bridesmaid dresses and gave her the money for it, which I felt like it was a little unlike Ceci to just take the money without being like, I'm not taking this. Like, what?
Yeah, there was no hesitation.
She was kind of like, I'll give it back to you guys.
Give me.
I was like, wow.
Cool, I thought so.
Desperate
times.
Exactly,
yeah.
She living in a home.
Right.
She needs the money.
Needs it. it and keep it moving. I think at that point she's just surviving.
Yeah. Which that was beautiful to see the girls come together and kind of
Except
do
for the
that.
ones that quit and just like went away.
Oh,
Yeah, they
Ceci ain't
dipped.
here. Bye.
Yeah, they just dipped.
She's like, where's everybody else? They left.
That's what they really
quit.
should be mad at.
Yeah.
I think.
Agreed.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah.
So then we get to, before we get to the final scene, we see Gina is working and Eddie comes in, who is
Eddie's
my
so
roommate's
cute.
favorite character. So Eddie comes in, he's like, hey, just all around guy next door. I want to post these things. And it's like for his sick.
His mom.
Like, and it's just like more of the moments.
It's a party to help his mom.
But then Gina finds out that.
She's like, where is it? Oh, it's at my friend. Oh, you that Gina? That was great. I love that.
I love that.
Because Gina is not too thrilled about Tiffany because what was his name?
Because of Diego.
Diego's shiesty self.
Diego's a player.
Shady.
Number one.
So we get to the pool party and we meet a whole bunch of upcoming characters because I seen them in the intro. Which one of them I was kind of like, he looking a little too old. He looking older.
Yeah.
He take the night classes at East.
You know those super seniors, they exist, okay? Don't front.
And he seemed to have that kind of a personality, the super senior, because
on
he
the
came
GED
in.
track.
Party forever.
Which, by the way, Eddie, why does your grandmother wear Speedos like that?
Get it, Grandma.
Question. He said that he had worn his Speedos. So as we get there,
Oh, his Speedos. That's right. Wait, no, don't get it, Grandma.
yeah. Sassy shows up with
Her baby.
Isela.
Isela.
She's
And
so
her
cute.
stroller.
Yeah.
And my favorite moment is Tiffany has these little, like, just.
Ridiculous.
Where
moments
did you
that
come
are
up with
like-
it? Eddie, don't make her pay. She's going through domestic abuse.
love
Like, and that's what you're
love
saying,
that.
where you can take a serious moment and just add a little.
Punch it. Just punch it up. Release.
From
Keep
the
it
Pete
moving.
comment last week to that one, I
Yes.
was just like, are you just putting everyone's
throwing it
tea
out.
out? Like, hey girl, and I have the Tupperware that we can
Yeah.
give you some food.
I love
Like,
that part.
It would be interesting to see, to be a fly on the wall and see like how many times they had to do that take, because I wouldn't have been able to do that without
Keep a straight-
face,
I know,
because it's
we
just
should
such a
have-
ridiculous comments, you
Yeah.
know. I think it would be, I don't know. I mean, I'm not an actor, so I guess I wouldn't be able to do it anyway. But it's so funny and it's great, and it's positioned in the storyline in the perfect places.
and there's no malice from her character,
Yeah.
so it's like
No.
she can say stuff like that, and you can
Yes.
understand why
It's
Ceci
so
doesn't get upset.
flighty,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah,
it's
she,
almost
like,
just like an eye roll.
neutralizes.
Like, okay,
Yeah.
oh, that's
Like,
just
that's
Tiffany.
just Tiffany.
Oh, Tiffany.
Okay, so, and that's kind of where we left it, except we find out that now the bomb squad's going to be co-ed.
Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Because Tiffany's brilliant and came up with the
Exactly.
idea.
That's right.
Yes.
Or she just wanted her boyfriend on the team.
Exactly.
Either way.
She was
Exactly.
just talking out of her neck because she was also drinking and she's already flighty. So we're
Right.
like, girl, what? No.
Drunk words equal
But
sober
what
thoughts,
a
man.
great
Yeah.
idea.
That's a
What
fantastic
great
idea.
Yeah.
How
And-
have we not thought of this before?
I love that we see just watching the elevation of this show every single season. We're seeing that you guys are starting to be able to use more current music, or music that
Production
not
value's
current.
definitely
I don't want
gone
to say
up.
current
Oh, yeah.
because what I did like about Islos from the beginning is that you guys it was music that I may not have ever heard these artists before, and you guys are bringing them to the forefront.
Right.
So I love that aspect in it, but I know that there's a Pharrell song that's going to be in one of the upcoming episodes, and I was like, all right, Islos, you better get your little production value now.
They
We
got
are
those
current.
clearances,
The
yes.
point is to just keep watching. Keep watching so that we can keep doing it. That's the whole point.
And the dancing from the previews looks like y'all are, so you think I can dance? Sure
I
can.
love that. Can I tell you? I've loved dancing all my life. So I've just to see that happen in the show when it was just this kind of little idea that we were messing with in season 1 was epic to me, and the fact obviously that it was co-ed, and we have Gilbert, who is a super senior, who's a professional dancer.
Yeah,
he's out
he
there.
choreographs for like J-Lo and all that stuff.
Yeah, he's J-Lo's lead, and Christina Aguilera. I mean, he's really out there doing it hardcore. So it wasn't actually. I feel it was an honor to have him on the show because he's just straight up doing it. With Pink. I mean,
maybe that's why I hold it against him, because I know of him from before the show, and I was like, they trying it right now, but all right. But I guess everyone on Glee, they were older.
But his skill, it's totally worth it, because the dance routines.
He adds. I think he adds that kind of foundation, or he adds it's the guy who's still in school, but he's super talented. Maybe that's why he wants to stay there. That's maybe another storyline where it's like, hey, he's afraid of getting out there. He maybe
in the real world.
Yeah, that's the only avenue perhaps that he feels like he can thrive in.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Or we may be getting too deep.
I mean, maybe.
Yeah.
But that's fine, because visually, I'm not mad at him being on my camera, on my TV.
Like the bachelorette party? The bachelorette party? Yeah.
When he came over. But see, he has those little him and Tiffany should actually be, they would be like the perfect couple.
I know,
Power couple.
I felt that too.
Make it happen.
All right, so before we get into predictions, I want to talk a little bit about what you're working on right now outside of East Los.
Well, I'm going back home this fall, either September or October. One of the films I've been working on, I don't think I could say which festival yet, but it's in a festival back in New York, and it's a comedy. It's a homegrown project in Spanish Harlem called The Stockroom.
What you, because I read that you write and direct, and you want to start creating women-driven content.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. That's something on the other side here that I'm pursuing. I'm currently working with a filmmaker to work on a period drama here in LA, set in a familiar neighborhood.
So period drama, what period? Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Really? A decade maybe?
Yeah, it's a cool one. So it's a totally cool one. Yeah, very fashionable, very heated. But it's cool. I think that, at least having East Los high on the map, we can start engaging in conversations on like, okay, what other stories within the Latino community, within the Black community, can we actually start saying that haven't been out there, and so that's really where I'm trying to go with the types of projects that I want to produce. Or right now I'm not really interested so much in directing, but I want to get into producing. I want to get into finally writing. But right now the acting is so exciting to me. Vanessa is giving me hope. I had a vision of the type of actor that I wanted to be, and to actually see people respond to her and people be engaged and people learn from her. Like myself, I was a bit of a wallflower and I was really introverted, and I think her character, magically allowed me to express myself and to be more confident. And I think that's so worthwhile. So right now, obviously I'd love to keep pursuing comedies, but a lot of the things that I audition for are dramas too.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, oh God, heavy stuff. But it's it's just getting that part, the Gina Camila's life. But yeah, and there's a possibility right now that I'll be working on a feature abroad. Before the year's up or at the beginning of the year. So those are things that are brewing right now. And of course, you always have the unexpected, like, where did that come from that I auditioned for 2 years ago? Type of thing that I hope will happen. But for now, things are moving steadily.
And I saw that you started off Broadway.
Off Broadway.
Whatever, girl. We gonna say
we all
We're just gonna say that one off.
Not
so
just
singing?
It. No, acting.
Just acting.
Yeah, acting. I really just wanted to. I saw someone's career, like someone like Meryl Streep or Cate Blanchett, and they came from theater, and I just naturally gravitated to theater, being in New York and seeing my peers do it, and playwrights, directors, obviously actors, and I felt like that was just my heart, and it still is. So my goal is to be able to go back home and do it hardcore.
And like, as far as like the script goes, how much do they actually let you guys kind of have say into your character?
You mean East Los?
Yeah.
Not much. I think. I mean, I was just told that my storyline would be expanded, and I thought that was great. They didn't tell me which direction. Later on, I think close to shooting, they said, okay, you're gonna have a little web show, and I thought that was an interesting way to start talking about HIV.
Which I just love the name Hy-Vee. That's
I mean,
so
I know,
genius.
I know. I was like, yeah. When I saw that, I was so relieved, and the fact that now you have these single living videos out where you can see different aspects of a character, and obviously she edits them herself, and so it has these little punchy things. I mean, she's still a young girl trying to figure it all out. And so that part of the show is something that I really enjoy delving into, because in the actual in the series, it's storyline driven. So she's with Ceci, she's with Isela, but later on you don't see what's happening behind the scenes, what her real thoughts are, what her real struggles or her real message. So that's pretty cool, but I have no idea what's gonna happen, and I kind of like it that way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's just like, okay, I'll write it, and if I don't understand it, I'll figure it out. So.
Boom. On that note, let's head into predictions.
Oh, it's happening.
And now, your AfterBuzz.
So there's different.
Oh, yeah, like,
There we go.
Flashing light.
It's the ghost of AfterBuzz.
should have like a little plush something walking around.
East Los and AfterBuzz fit in very well with each other.
Right?
I think so.
Okay. So, co-ed bomb squad. Good. We're supporting the idea.
Yes.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I love that.
Is it leading to maybe
There's gonna
future
be-
pregnancy?
Yes.
Oh my
kids
God.
fondling
There's
each
definitely
other?
gonna
Oh my
lead to
God.
some
There'd be some
teenage
bump-
sex
Yeah.
I mean, after the
Yeah.
bachelor party,
They
I was
can't
like,
contain
Oh yeah,
themselves.
that bachelor party was indicative of some bumping uglies
Yeah,
in the
That's
future.
true. That's true. I mean, everything comes back around.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
No pun intended.
Hey.
That's so Vanessa.
I know that is.
we get.
Are you sure your name's not
Nasty.
Vanessa?
Camila is obviously told Gina and her mother.
Yes.
The father got arrested.
Right.
Do we see some maybe getting closer between the family, or?
I think so. I feel that that's where it's going.
I hope so.
Or do we think Camila's gonna
Yeah.
get up and run away again? Because we know she'd be loving to do
I think
that.
she's found the way that she's going to face the problems in her life, even if they're very difficult. Because she came, she told, she left Jocelyn
Yeah.
for a little while.
Yeah.
So I think at least now she's trying to face everything that's going on with her.
Yeah, at the very least, there's a framework for her to attempt to start to remedy all of what's happening
What's
there.
wrong.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So
I think she
yeah, I
needs
think
a little
so. I would like to see it.
reprieve. A reprieve from the intensity.
Yeah.
I think.
And then Jacob and Ceci.
Oh my God.
Boo! Boo!
No.
Oh well, all right. Well,
No.
maybe Vanessa will rekindle with Jacob.
Yeah, maybe I'll be matchmaker.
That would be amazing.
Like, the reality show?
I could
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
really see
Yes.
Vanessa
I can
like
see
picking
that.
that up
Yeah.
as a
Should
hobby.
be your new. Oh my God!
I'm
That's my
not a writer
prediction.
in this show. Hold up. That
guys
would
listening?
Be awesome. That would be
That would be
awesome.
great.
Well, Tracy, thank you for coming through today.
Thank you
you,
for inviting
thank
me. It was
you.
so much fun.
Yeah, you're just so delightful, and I'm glad that you're not Vanessa.
I'm glad too. Thank
Although
you
on
guys
certain
so
days I would
much.
love to hang out with Vanessa.
We should go shopping and have some brunch.
You know what I mean? Or I would just bring her
Have her
around some
wash my
people that I
hair.
need her to have a conversation with.
Yeah.
And where can everyone follow you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Tracy_Perez and on Instagram Reina del Sueño.
Boom.
All right.
Julia?
You can follow me on
Bilingual.
You can follow me at Julian Dujeric on Instagram and Twitter.
I'm Instagram and Twitter at Stuart Starlet.
And you guys can hit me up at DJ Jesse J and also follow us at AfterBuzz TV everywhere. Until next week, same time, same place. Peace.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.